everybody, and welcome to the Pixelated Sausage Show. I'm, of course, your host, Marcus Nez. Hi. How are y'all doing? I still don't know about the intro, but I am about to be my typical broken record self and say I'm thinking about doing things a little differently with this here show, specifically just one of those things I go back and forth on, which is news, talking about news and all that jazz. I have said in the past that I want to get away from it, and then I get back to it. And then after a few weeks, say I want to get away from it again. I'm here again to say I want to get away from it. But it's more so because schedule-wise and how everything works with all the stuff I do, I would like to try and get this show recorded and out of my things to do earlier in the week so that it's just there, done, ready to be posted on Friday, and free up headspace, mind space, so that I'm not stressing about this or that, and I'm not waiting to record this for so-and-so. I'm also thinking about maybe doing news stuff where a news thing comes out and I'm really excited to talk about it, interested to talk about it, and I instead do a quick just about that news story, episode, thing, post, whatnot for Patreon specifically, to give the Patreon more things to entice people to want to maybe join or stay a member of. But I want to just give myself the ability to get these episodes done earlier and free up my head and all that to focus on other projects and so on and so forth. That said, I have nothing to talk about news-wise. That said, anything? No. Before I get to what I've been playing, though, if you aren't someone who watches my streams, I started finally this week Cyberpunk 2077, so I am 4 nights in now. Having a pretty alright time, a bit of a rough start. I think it is a slow starter. There is a point. We all know Keanu Reeves is in the game. The point where he shows up in the game, I think that's when it really gets going. And so now I am kind of into it. I'm hovering around the fence of how I feel about it, what my long, ultimate thoughts on it will be. Still many, many, many hours to go. But overall, I would say I'm enjoying it. But if you want to check out the streams, of course, the old streams are there for you to check out if you want. And I stream every weeknight, 7 p.m. Central to roughly around 10:30-ish. But enough of that. Let us get on to what I've been playing, starting with Gloomy Eyes. This is a game played a bit of where you are controlling 2 characters, not simultaneously. You switch between them. I don't think there is a co-op mode version where one person can play as one and vice versa. But you have gloomy zombie boy and gloomy emo human girl. And they have their pros and cons. The boy can... What can he do that the girl can't do? I know the boy can't go into light. Light will kill him pretty much instantly. And the girl can. The boy, I know what the boy can do. The boy can throw shit. There are probably other differences because I just played it for a bit. But the boy can throw shit. So if there is something that needs to be moved and there is a switch that is unreachable, he can take an object and throw it at that button to activate it and push it this way or that way, make a bridge, come up or come down, so on and so forth. And the girl can go through light, to reach something that the boy can't, and so on and so forth. Maybe the boy can move things and the girl can't. But after the first few levels, because you have one level where it's just the boy introducing you to him, and then another one where it's just the girl introducing to her, and then they meet up, and it's like this little cute child. You can call it a romance, I guess. But then the levels become this back and forth of you play as one character to get as far as you can with them to unlock something so that the other character can do a little bit of progression, rinse and repeat back and forth. And it's solid. What is really the standout of the game, though, is the art. I think it looks great. It has a very Nightmare Before Christmas, Leica aesthetic, a very stop motion look to it. It doesn't look that way animation wise, but just the style, the art direction of it feels very reminiscent of stuff like that. So Nightmare Before Christmas, Norman, and so on, which is very, very appealing. It's a very, very good looking game. And the puzzles are all right. Nothing I've experienced so far is too brain breaking, but I like it. There are times where I've overthought puzzles for sure. I think there was one instance where I had to get, because the way you clear the levels, you get to this designated zone. You got to get both characters there. And I overthought how I had to get, I think it was the boy to the spot. I was going back and forth. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then I just realized, well, I opened this one gate for the girl. The boy can get there just fine. He can go through the same gate. I didn't have to find an alternate route. It was fine. So there's that. But yeah, solid game so far. A game that I would like to go back to when I have the time. That's the big thing right now, is just finding the time for everything. That is, again, Gloomy Eyes, which I quite enjoyed. Next, we have the Berlin Apartment, which conceptually I really, really like. It is somewhat reminiscent of that recent Zemeckis movie, I think it was. I don't remember what it was called, and I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be crap. I thought it looked like crap. I believe starring Tom Hanks and Robin Wright and maybe others, where it all takes place from a fixed camera location that's typically in this living room of this house. But I think there are points where it's like, oh, this is a deserty area or so on, because it might go all through the years, spanning through dinosaurs and all that kind of shit. I don't know, but in the Berlin Apartment, it's a bunch of stories, I think 4 or 5 stories that are all being told from this Berlin apartment at different times. I only played through, well, it starts off with the kind of wrapping of the whole thing where you are a daughter with her father and you're renovating this apartment. And through the renovation, you find things that will link you to this person's story, that person's story. So the first thing you do is you take down some of the wallpaper and you see this I think art drawings on the wall that take you back to this one character. And I only played through their storyline, this first one, where it's just about this young man who you're playing who ends up having this back and forth conversation with another apartment, another person on the other side of the Berlin Wall. And you're doing this through throwing paper planes to one another with notes on them. And you decide to have dinner together. Obviously, they're not going to come over. They can't cross the wall, but you're going to have it through this weird connection you've developed with them. While I really like the idea of all these different stories from all these different times and their only relation being this same location, I think that's a really cool way of doing a narrative. The actual gameplay is leaving a lot to be desired. Because in this first thing, all you're doing is, one, folding these various paper airplanes so that you can then throw them, and you throw them through your window, and then as you're progressing through this chapter, the winds will pick up and it'll get harder to actually reach your destination. At one point, you have to throw it into the little like guard station thing in the middle of the wall to freak out the guards. You just want to fuck with them. But you are just going through this paper airplane book, which you conveniently have because your niece or something had a book of them and left them at your house. And oh, it just happens to be there. How convenient. How convenient. But that gameplay is just having the paper and then you fold it by following the on-screen inputs that tell you, okay, push the analog stick, angle, upward, right. Now down, now to the left, now to the right. Now press this button to do this type of fold. And that's all you're doing there. And then through the process of fixing your space up, preparing for the dinner, you will water your plants. So you just go around your house, you find the ones that are withered, you water them, they become back to life, done. You go into your closet to pick an outfit, done. You go prepare your food, you just look in the kitchen to find various things that'll work with it. You click them and they automatically are transported to the countertop. There, you're done. Now you want to cook the food. Okay, it's the same thing like doing the paper airplanes. You might rotate your analog stick in this way or move it this way, press this button. It's very limited in terms of what kind of interactions you're doing, and it's not very engaging. It's a well-told story in that the voice acting is solid, the writing is solid. Again, the wrapping of this whole thing, everything being related to the singular apartment, and having not experienced any of the other ones yet, is a cool idea. But in terms of it justifying being a game, it hasn't done that for me. And then I ran into an issue specifically on Xbox. And I know this is probably not going to be something that matters to most. Well, I have a lot of Xbox players in my audience. I know that. But it is not quick resume friendly. At some point, because I did quick resume once without this becoming an issue. But the last time I played, when I finished this chapter, I returned to the game through quick resume and it was unable to autosave. And there was no way for me to correct this. And so when I finished the chapter I was in and ready to switch over to the next one, return and load, it just got stuck on a black screen and loading. And so I couldn't do anything there. I backed out and said, save and quit. And that locked up on me. That just got stuck on a loading screen again. And so when I had to quit the game completely, relaunch it, I lost maybe 30 minutes of progress, which was not enjoyable. So if you are interested in this game and you are playing on Xbox, when you're done playing, save and quit and just do it that. Better be safe than sorry. Right. All right. So keep that in mind. If you're on Xbox, it's not a quick resume friendly game. Or at least it has the chance to not be. Again, 2 times going from quick resume. First time fine, second time everything was fucked. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it's the most engaging from a gameplay standpoint. It hasn't really made it clear why this should be a game. I'm not getting anything out of the gameplay elements. I'm not getting anything out of the interactions I'm doing in the game. But that is again the Berlin apartment. Next we have ZOE Begone. ZOE Begone. Capital Z, capital O, capital E. Exclamation mark after Begone. This is a weird type of shmuppy thing. Horizontal shmuppy thing where you're kind of on a scrolling thing. It's almost like you're on some kind of conveyor belt thing that has a short thing to it. And you are this little thing shooting objects, and you can only shoot left or right when you're in the air, but when you're on the ground, you can shoot at angles as well. And you are balancing your stamina with the attacks. You have to worry about your health too, and the way you regain health is that there are things on the ground that will increase your stamina or increase your health if you do a kind of double jump there. But it wasn't always registering when I was doing it. It was very frustrating. And the whole thing, it didn't click with me. I love the look of the game so much, and I was excited to play because I thought it had a distinct look and sounded interesting, where it was this kind of shmuppy, platformy-ish hybrid. I don't even know how to explain the game, but it just did not click with me at all. I would recommend watching a video of it because I don't even know how to explain it. Where you're shooting these things and enemies are coming at you from both sides. You can dash through them. That builds up some kind of special meter or something. I don't know. I really, really, really didn't jive with it. Surprisingly challenging. But that, again, could just be due to the fact that what the game wanted me to do mechanically did not click with me whatsoever. It did not feel good. Definitely did not feel natural, but it was something where I was playing, I'm like, this feels off, and I don't know if it's just that I need time to grasp it, or if it's that I don't want to. It just wasn't my thing, unfortunately, but I think it's worth at least looking up to watch a trailer of to see if maybe something about it visually appeals to you, because there could be something there for someone. It's just very obviously and quickly was not something for me, unfortunately, despite looking at me like, ooh, this looks unique. I love seeing something unique. I love seeing something that's different, but with that comes the potentiality of it not working for you, and that's ZOE Begone. So ZOE Begone. That sounded mean. I don't mean to be mean. Next, though, we have Wander Stars, which I played through the first episode of, and it's this really cool fighting RPG where the way you engage in fights is by taking words you have equipped in your repertoire, and you have your main kind of words that are actions. So maybe punch, kick, jab, so on and so forth. And then modifiers like super, double, wide, so on and so forth. And you mix these together to create attacks in these fights that aesthetically, the look of the show, the art style, the way the fights are shown, and the way the animations are, everything about it is very clearly inspired by classic 90s era anime. There's a lot of Dragon Ball in this. So much Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, which of course speaks to me as someone who adores Dragon Ball. That is my comfort anime. I love Dragon Ball so much. I do want to do another rewatch at some point, and I want to also revisit Kakarot, the game. But great style to it all. The RPG system, again, it's very simple in that you are doing these things. You can defend as well. You can block wide if you're dealing with this and so on. You can block a super block that'll give you more block points. And you also have certain modifiers or perks. I forget what the term was, but things you get from becoming friends with your foes. Because with every fight, if you get an enemy down to a relative weak point. So you get them, maybe they have 15 health and you get them down to 4 health. They'll become weakened, get down on their knees, and instead of finishing them off by hitting them again, you can create a friendship with them. I think it's technically just peace, but peace, friendship, whatever. You befriend them instead of defeat them, and then they give you a little bonus, which could be you start every fight with 5 block points, or you start every fight with an additional slot for a word, or so on. The writing is solid. It feels very in line with that era of anime and all of that. Just a really nice, nostalgic feeling RPG that is simple mechanically. It's very simple to understand, but has depth in what you can do as you unlock more and more words, because there are so many combinations you can make with the various words and the modifiers and all of that. And then every single enemy you fight is going to be strong and weak to certain things. And depending on what you have in your current vocabulary for your what you have equipped, that might make you weak or strong to certain things. So there's a lot to keep in mind, and you can freely switch out words in between fights. There is a randomization to, I don't think the map layout, but just in terms of where enemies are placed and all that, so that there is reason to replay the game and go and do multiple runs. Because you're doing a run, it has that kind of roguelike nature to it. And you're going through these areas. I think every episode is comprised of 3 acts, 3 areas. And yeah, I've only played a little bit of it again, but I really liked what I played. I had a good time with it. But a part of that is for sure my love for that general aesthetic. That is, again, though, Wander Stars, and that's Wander with an A, Wander, not Wonder, Wander. Next, we have Schildmaid MX, Schildmaid MX. This is another more traditional, like ZOE Begone, but a more traditional horizontal scrolling shmup. Very, very simple. Good look, feels good. Its gameplay shtick is that you have this shield system where when enemies are firing at you, the first bullet you hit will activate your shield, or the first bullet that hits you will activate your shield, and then you'll have a little kind of meter that is diminishing. And while it's still active, though, every bullet you take in will not do damage, but increase. Well, it works like the upgrade system for your ship. So you'll reach a new level that'll give you more power in your bullets and so on. And killing enemies will replenish that meter a little bit so that you can keep this system going. So there is a pull there of going after and getting hit by bullets, but also taking down enemies so that you can keep this meter going and keep your shield active. When the meter goes down completely, you are vulnerable for a certain amount of time, so that now bullets will kill you. It's very clear in the game. I think when bullets are purple, that's when your shield's not active, or that's when you're able to get hit and activate your shield. Then all the bullets become white, indicating everything's good. Your shield is white, everything's good. When it depletes and you're vulnerable, your shield becomes red, bullets become red. Very clear. This is bad. This is dangerous. Avoid everything for the time being. That whole system is nice. It gives it a bit of a risk and reward system, except it's not a very challenging shmup. There are more challenging modes, because I just played through the whole campaign once, which is comprised of 4 levels. The first 3 levels are made up of 3 acts. So you have 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, then 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, etc. And then the 4th one is just the final boss fight. I think the general layout of levels is solid. Enemy patterns and all that, solid. The real knock to the game for me from level design standpoint is that there is no boss variety. Each level, all 9 of them, ignoring the final one in the 4th area, they all end in the same exact way against the same extra large ship with its little helper drone thing, and that's it every single time. There's no challenge to it either because it's pretty easy to get through a level. I wouldn't call this a bullet hell game because it never gets that crazy with the amount of bullets on screen. Maybe that happens with the more challenging version of the campaign, and there's also, I think, a complete EX mode which might make things even crazier, but I haven't engaged with all. There's a decent amount of content here in terms of just allowing you to play the game in different ways, but not in terms of just like, oh, there's this whole additional campaign. To my knowledge, I don't think that's how it works. But the way every level was for me is that I'd get through it really easily because the shield system is very forgiving. And then when I got to the final boss, I would just use my EX, my special weapon, my special laser beam, and I could kill them in 2 seconds every single time. Because I was always powered up to level 5, the max level. So it's a solid playing, solid looking, solid mechanically speaking shmup, but it doesn't bring a lot to the table. It's a really, really strong 6 out of 10, but that's it. So your mileage will vary. It's for fans of the genre. That's the kind of game it is. Except, thinking about that, I was thinking about this earlier today. Fans of the genre, I don't know how apt that is when people use it. Because thinking about it here, would this game actually be for fans of the shmup genre? Sure. Fans of shmups are going to like shmups. However, won't fans of shmups be more critical of shmups? So then a shmup that doesn't really do anything super new or interesting or have this kind of variety, won't they be harsher on it? Isn't there a chance that fans of the genre only want the very best the genre has to offer since they're so well versed in it, so that a game like this is something that would bounce off them incredibly quick? They'll play through it once and be like, okay, well, that was fine, moving on. So maybe fans of the genre, as we use it, is a bullshit term and we should never use it ever again. Maybe. But it's an alright game. That is, again, though, Schildmaid MX. Schildmaid MX. Next is Keys of Fury, which is a typing game where it's kind of like that old Kung Fu game for NES, which I think was just called Kung Fu, where you're going left or right and just taking on enemies as they're coming from the left or right. Low kick, high kick, very satisfying. And there's a satisfaction to attacking the animations, the art I think is fantastic in this game. And I love typing games in general. However, while the typing works fine, it works as advertised. You type in the words that come up on screen and you do the attacks. Fine, great, wonderful. What kills this game, keep in mind, it's only $5. Okay, $5. Even so, it feels like an early access game that isn't marked as an early access. I want to double check. I'm pretty sure this is not an early access game, because I think it's been in development for a very long time. I played the demo as well, which got me excited and interested in the game. And the problem with the demo is that, nothing about it being an early access thing. The problem with the demo is that playing the demo and then playing the main game, I don't feel like there's a whole lot extra to the main game compared to the demo. I don't think the demo allowed you to play any of the mini games, just the campaign, but I feel like in the demo, you could almost play the entire campaign, which is just one act. I don't remember how they phrase it, but let's just call it one act, split into 3 chapters. And then once you finish that, the next one is a grayed out box that in-game says coming soon, or maybe it's like February 2026, expect the next episode, something along those lines. I don't know. But the only thing that's there campaign-wise, it took me 20 minutes, if that. It's very short. It's not a lot of content there. And then again, you have a handful of minigames, though at least 2 or 3 of them are broken up into 2 versions. So you have something like Dino Rush 1, Dino Rush 2, this attack mode 1, this attack mode 2. So even there, the variety is limited. And then the actual minigames aren't that unique. You have Dino Rush, and I think also Dino Race, Dino something. One, I think, is you just racing against dinosaurs, and then another one is you running away from a Tyrannosaurus Rex or something like that. Not that different. And again, you're just typing the words. And then one is nostalgic crap, where it's just you typing in quotations from various movies of the 80s and 90s, typically. I think stuff like, I'll have what she's having, I'll be back, get to the Java, and shit like that, which to me is maybe if the visuals related to the quotation was like, oh, here's a scene of you from Predator, or here's them in the diner and When Harry Met Sally, or just playing the game wherever I think it was just the fruit stall area or something, where they're just having you type in these quotes, these famous movie quotes, and also maybe sometimes the name of that did nothing for me. As someone who also knows all these quotes, grew up with them, that doesn't do shit for me. Maybe it does for other people. For me, it did nothing. There's another mode where you just are typing in random shit. It's like hizzy, hazy, hosey. It's like, okay, all right. I guess this is a little bit more challenging because these aren't actual words. And then I think there was one that was just kind of an endless mode to see how long you can last. So even though it's only $5, the limited nature of what's there really hurts the experience. I'm pretty sure, lack of online leaderboards really hurts the experience, because a big part of these types of typing games, or just typing games in general, is the ability to not only compete with friends, but compete with others to see how you rank up. And then probably the biggest problem with the game as it stands is that there is no difficulty option. So there is just the built-in difficulty of it. And when I say difficulty, I mean the game is incredibly easy and forgiving, and in one way that makes it very accessible to anyone. But if you're looking for a challenge, there's nothing really here for that. You have a lot of time to type in these words, whether it's a boss or just a regular fight. You don't have to worry about failing. You would have to try it. I feel like even if you're a touch typist, you do one key at a time, you only use your 2 index fingers. I think even you, and you have to look down at the keyboard, I think you would be fine with the game, which in a way is nice if you're somebody who's not the greatest typist and you want to play a typing game. But having no scale of difficulty for people who are very good typists and want to challenge themselves, that's disappointing. I'm not a great typist. I'm pretty sure I'm very middle of the road. I think I average around 60 words per minute. So I don't think that's great. Maybe that's slight. I don't know where that falls in the overall world of typing speeds, but that is probably the biggest thing that kills this game, is that lack of difficulty options that would allow certain people to really challenge themselves. So as it stands, I think even though it's only $5, yeah, there's just not enough there to keep one engaged for more than a demo's worth. If the demo's still available, just play the demo and you'll get your fix. Because I don't even think the vocabulary, I don't think the dictionary, the amount of words that they have there is that wide. Sometimes they relate to what you're doing, sometimes they don't. Yeah, that's Keys of Fury. Obviously, I played that on PC because keyword game. Then Truck Driver, The Dutch Connection. These types of sim games I typically think of as being pretty in the weeds with all of the stuff you have to do and being very in depth in terms of how intricate they are and how simmy they are. This Truck Driver Dutch Connection, not at all that. This seems way more focused on the narrative it's telling, which I think in a way is appealing, and its more accessible nature in terms of gameplay and how little you have to be aware of is somewhat appealing, except I don't know who the audience for a game like this is, because I think people who gravitate towards these games wants more of that in-depth nature. And while having a narrative is nice, it's not the best narrative. It's fine. It's not something I looked at and was like, oh God, this is so awful. It's just kind of like, I don't really care. Visually, it's fine. I don't know what it is about these games. I tend to always really like it when it's thunderstorming, and there are a few of those in here. It seems to rain a lot in this game. It just rained like crazy, and I had to figure out how to use the windshield wipers myself. It didn't tell me the first time I got a drop of rain, but you don't have to really worry about rules of the road. You can speed all you want. You'll get fined for going through red lights, but I didn't get fined for speeding at any point. I tapped cars plenty. Little minor fender benders, none of those did damage that I had to worry about. Only if I got into a serious car wreck would it affect me in any way. It feels fine driving wise, but there's just not a lot you have to keep in mind with, so it's not super engaging there. You have to be more concerned about yourself as a driver than your truck, so you have to make sure that you get enough sleep and you get enough food, or you can pass out while driving, for both reasons, whether you're malnourished or underslept. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a game I played and I thought, this is kind of pleasant. It's kind of chill and relaxing, but at the same time, I just wonder who exactly this is for. Because it seems a little, I don't know. It feels like a game I played. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's fine, but do I want to play more of this? I don't really know. Does somebody want to play more of this? Because a big part of it right now is the story it's telling, but I'm just ignoring this and skimming through it at the point. So now I'm just driving from location to location, and it's not very exciting. And I don't have to worry about this, that, and I don't have to be very mindful of my driving, because other than red lights, I'm not getting penalized for anything, so I don't even have to pay attention all that much to the rules of the road, which is something I liked more in other games of this nature. I've played a few where, for instance, you have to pay attention to the speed limit, and I think when I have to keep mindful of that, it keeps me more engaged, and I enjoy that, where as opposed to when I don't. Yeah, that is Truck Driver: The Dutch Connection. Dungeon Minesweeper is a game I was very, very excited about and interested in, because I am someone who, I understand how Minesweeper works. I know the gist of it. However, it's never clicked with me on I get why people like this standpoint. And I thought to myself, well, maybe if we mix in a bit of dungeon crawling, that'll be what gets me into Minesweeper. In the same way, though not the same way, because I did enjoy your very basic mastery games, but when Puzzle Quest came out, and obviously Gems of War now, and all the other games of that nature, that mixture of genres was something that made me fall in love with match 3 games. I enjoyed something like Bejeweled or Zumba, whatever it is, and Luxor and so on, but you add in RPG elements and suddenly they become some of my favorite games of all time. Unfortunately, I don't think Dungeon Minesweeper does anything to make, at least for me and maybe for you, I don't think it's a good game at making someone who isn't a Minesweeper fan into a Minesweeper fan. I don't think it crosses that bar. The way it works is that you're a little person in this world and you're moving them around, and then in a certain vicinity within their area, you can click on blocks to destroy them or not, depending on what you're seeing based on the world in a very Minesweeper way. So you might click it and then there's a 2 and then like, okay, well, 2 of the blocks that are connected adjacent to this one will contain a bomb. Not really a bomb, but just something that if you click it and it's a bad spot, it'll do some damage to your health. And then there are other enemies, NPCs in there that will attack you, that you can engage with, shops and whatnot. You're finding resources to improve yourself, and you're just going on runs after run. You die, you start over from the beginning. I think for fans of Minesweeper, this might be a great game. But like I said, if you're someone who doesn't like Minesweeper or is indifferent towards it, I don't think, at least the way this game is set up, I don't think this manages to do anything to draw you in and turn you into a Minesweeper. I don't think this is quite the right. It doesn't hit in the way I want it to. But I would love to see more games. I want to see something make me like Minesweeper. I want to like Minesweeper is basically what I want to say. But that didn't end up being the case with this one. Again, Dungeon Minesweeper. And then the last one is The Last Shot Arcades, which is a handful, I think 4 or 5 different little arcade experiences from the Last Shots universe, which was a point-and-click adventure game. I think it was a point-and-click adventure game. Maybe it had some active platforming as well. But I played that when it originally came out. Didn't love the aesthetic. And then here you have some very simple arcade games. One, you're driving a bus or something and you're just going through the lanes on traffic, avoiding cars and trying to get as far as you can. There's one where you are playing a kind of, it's not Worms-esque, but you fire a bullet in an area and it'll ricochet off all the things, and you're trying to hit an enemy that is on the other side of the area. So you're trying to get through the obstacles and find the way the bullet will ricochet and bounce off to hit them, which is probably the best mechanically and most fun of the mini games. There's another one where you're in like a spaceship and it's like a claw game where I think dinosaurs are just coming through you on one plane, and you just drop your claw to grab them and get them to stop them from getting up and trying to destroy your ship. And then the last one was, I can't even remember, but it's a collection of, again, 4 or 5 little mini games, all of which aren't super great playing. They're not super well designed. They're not that fun. So yeah, skip it unless you loved The Last Shots. The Last Shot, not The Last Shots. If you love The Last Shot game and you want to still be in that world and play experiences in it with that aesthetic, then yeah, sure. This is a case where it's not for fans of the genre, it's for fans of the other game. And if you're a fan of that other game, then maybe this is for you, but everyone else, no. This is not the game. But yeah, that is again The Last Shot Arcades. What a weird name. I guess it's The Last Shot Arcades because there are multiple arcade games in it. But yeah, that is going to do it for this here episode of the Pixelated Sausage Show. Once again, I am Mark Krishnez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. Then you can get access to random drops here and there, about this, that, and whatever, as well as a private Discord channel and some fancy Discord roles depending on your tier, of course, or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/pxs. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye, bye. It's go time. Go, Daddy. It's go time.